Totally
Actually,
agree.
I'm picturing in my head the show that happens when Kermit realizes the menu contains frog legs and he realizes that the menu has like bacon or something on it. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo Podcast, brought to you by My Path Unwinding Travel. And Sam, another listener review. Yay. For those watching this on YouTube, you might note between this episode and the last episode, I'm wearing the exact same thing as is. No, Sam actually showered between recordings today.
I showered and changed. Yeah, I was wearing my workout clothes. I did an outfit change. Yeah, my hair.
I got to go for a run after this, so clean. I didn't. So all right. So our listener review this week comes from Alan1701, and Alan writes, "They are awesome and genuine. I absolutely love Brian and Sam. Not only are they two of the nicest people I've ever met, but they are very genuine. I may not always agree with them, but they do not discount or discard other opinions that differ a lot from their opinions.
All lies.
It's such a pleasure getting to know them on a Norway cruise. I hope I can sit down with them again and record my hot takes for them when time allows. Keep it up, guys. You rock." From Alan. And we know exactly which Alan that is.
That is. Yeah. So as soon as, I mean, the hot takes gives it away, because our friend Alan, who was on our show when we were in Norway, he came on the show. We actually recorded on board. He was on the entire European season sailing on the Magic that year, and sort of phenomenal back-to-back story. Of course, he's got over 100 sailings under his belt at this point, well over 100 sailings. And he always has hot takes. There are things that people love on Disney Cruise Line that he completely hates. And so we always have these just funny conversations.
And we got to see him on the Disney Treasure Maiden Voyage, which was, I think that was a big deal for Alan, getting on a Wish class ship, because he's not a fan.
He's not a fan.
Maiden Voyage, which he has also not been a huge fan of. So Alan, I'll just say this. Anytime, man, you're welcome to come on. We'll do some hot takes with Alan. It'd be a great time. So just hit us up. We love to chat with you. So yes. All right. Well, Sam, we've got some returning guests, some friends, some folks other folks we've met. So yeah.
I am so excited to welcome back to the show Erin and Todd. Erin has been on a number of times. Todd has come on, I think, once before with Erin. But it's so good to see you guys. We're on video, but face to face again. We of course met it was on the Disney Magic. We were sailing out of San Diego, and we had brunch with you all and a whole bunch of other fun cruisers. And I interact a lot with Erin in a women's travel Facebook group that we're in as well. But it's just lovely to have you guys back on. So welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today. The last time I saw Brian, we were both grabbing beignets at downtown Disney. And I thought,
yes,
man, with excellent breakfast taste right there.
Yes. I remember that. I was like, who is this person who's talking? I was, oh yes.
Excited about the celebrity sighting right there, but doing our fatherly duties of grabbing beignets in the morning while everybody else was in the hotel. So
That's right. That's right. I love it. I mean, when at downtown Disney, right? Get a beignet from Ralph Brennan's. It's a wonderful idea for breakfast. I love that. Well, I've got to say, I said this off air, but I got to say this on air, which is welcome to the Gold Castaway Club, you guys. I know this was your 6th sailing that we're going to talk about. So you had already reached technically gold status before, but this was the first time you got to sail with gold status. So congratulations, you all.
Actually, we were a bit of split status. So Erin and her daughter went on a cruise last summer, and I was home with the boys. And so I reached gold status on this.
That's right.
We experienced a little bit of a disconnect because we had 2 rooms, and the 2 were on the gold sailing, and then the others weren't. Had we thought it through a little bit more,
you should switch.
One each. But we managed.
Yeah, it makes your booking windows different for, the onboard activities, and also you get different Castaway Club gifts. It doesn't change your lanyards because the lanyards are per person status, but it does change the overall room gift. So you only got one of those wet bags instead of 2 of those wet bags. Is that right?
Right. I think we'll make do with just the one. So I think
I think you'll be okay.
If you need another, I'm sure we've got about 5.
We can send you.
Yeah, it was really more the having different check-in windows, having different booking windows. And it's so weird too, because you can't even, I booked Paulo, but I couldn't even put him on my reservation.
Yeah.
it was just a little silly, but we're past that now.
Yeah. I will tell you, we have been hearing a lot from people. I want to put this out there that like people only being able to book, even when status is the same, only being able to book one person for Apollo reservation instead of booking a table for two, which makes zero sense.
They send a note now for concierge. Oh, that's
not
concierge.
for concierge. That's for concierge.
Yeah, that's concierge booking. Yeah.
No, in general, like I've been getting a bunch of messages from people and I'm like, if you can make it, just make the one. If you need a reservation for two, just make a reservation for one. You will add the other person on board. There are no one tops in Apollo.
Although the last time we were on, we tried to add two people to our reservation and we were two
for
and we're
dinner.
Like, and I said something to the maitre d' about, it's a 4-top we're sitting at anyway, right? And he was like, well, yes, it is a 4, but it's not about the size of the table. It's about compromising the service experience for you. And I was like, I've eaten at Palo. I've been on 30 of these things. I've eaten at Palo probably 28 times, like, or more, probably because we do. I was like, I think the service is going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. Yeah, on the Wish class, there are only 4 tops and like 6 tops. On the Magic class, and I think on Dream class there are some 2 tops. But anyway. Yeah. But I digress. Well, let's do a brief. Erin, why don't you give us just a brief reminder of what your prior sailings have been, and then we're going to dive into talking about this cruise, which I know was your first time on the Disney Treasure.
Yep. So we have done all of the, I've done all the ships. We've done 2 3-night Bahamas. One was on the Wish, one was on the Wonder. We've done a 7-night Magic, Mexican Riviera. We've done a 7-night Eastern on the Fantasy, which was a similar but not quite identical itinerary to what we just did. And then I did the 7-night Eastern Med on the Dream last summer. And then we did this, which was a 7-night Eastern on the Wish.
Awesome. Or on the Treasure, not on the Wish.
Treasure, yes. Yeah.
Now, tell us what was different about the prior Eastern itinerary from the Eastern itinerary you did. What were the different stops?
This one went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, instead of St. Thomas. So that was the big difference. And that's rarer, right? As far as I understand.
Yeah, there's not too many that go to San Juan outside of doing like the Southern Caribbean ones. Like the Southern Caribbean ones tend to go to San Juan, but occasionally you get an Eastern. We did an Eastern itinerary out on the Fantasy over New Year's, and that also stopped at San Juan. But it's definitely a more rare stop for Disney. Well, let's talk about why you guys chose this itinerary and this cruise. Todd, I'll throw that to you.
Sure. I think we wanted to try the Treasure first and foremost. I think that was the overarching factor for us. And then the addition of San Juan was interesting because it was a stop that we hadn't seen before. We'd also heard on some of the previous sailings that San Juan stops had been planned, but they had to shift. I think there may have been damage to one of the ports there. And so there was issues going on with that. And so we were wondering if we were going to make it to San Juan. We did. But I guess some of the previous sailings, I think the day before embarkation, people received notice saying, we had to have a change on this sort of thing, but we didn't have anything like that. So
we didn't really have much of a choice though, because that was our spring break. So the only options were there was a Fantasy that did Lighthouse and Castaway, or the Treasure, which we were a little bit tempted because we haven't done Lighthouse yet, but ultimately we decided that we wanted to do the Treasure. So that's mostly why we picked that itinerary. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and if you had done the Fantasy that week, you would have been doing like a 5-night or a 4-night or something, right? Not the 7-night. Yeah. So you can't go wrong with the 7-night. Obviously, the more nights on the ship, the better. Now, for the pre-booking stuff, were you guys looking to, obviously you mentioned Palo, were you looking to book, did you book brunch or did you book dinner? And what were you sort of looking to book ahead of time?
Sure. So we ended up booking, we didn't get anything ahead of time. We booked the day of, right? I apologize.
Yeah. So I wanted a brunch. And so here's one thing I've noticed. It has gotten so hard to book. Even now as gold, I feel like it's harder as gold than a few years ago was as silver. We had no trouble getting Palo when we sailed in, when was that, 2019, 2020. We couldn't get a brunch. There was no brunch availability. And then we did get a dinner. And then when we got on board, we got on the wait list for a brunch and a spot never opened up. So we just kept that dinner. So I did book the dinner in advance.
That's right. The day of I went to go see if we could get the brunch.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
Yeah, you're right, though. I think the onboard booking stuff has become more difficult. I feel like anecdotally, we have been hearing that more and more. I think some of it has to do with the increased capacity and concierge on, well, the Wish class has a bigger concierge, right, than the other ships. But even on now on Dream has bigger than it used to have concierge. Fantasy will after September or after October. And then same on the smaller ships too. So like the smaller ships maybe a little bit easier just ratio wise. But like I do think, and I also think as people have increased their, over the years, more and more people are becoming platinum and more people are becoming pearl. And so because of that tiered structure, it does put silver and even gold in a, sort of greater disadvantage when you have more people who are in those higher categories. So yeah.
Just based on lanyards, I feel like everybody's gold. On our Mexico sailing, we were on with you guys. And then with this one and on the Dream last year, it was just everybody had the gold ones.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that was also a special itinerary, right? Like, because it was as you mentioned, it was the Riviera, but it was the southern end of the Riviera because it was a 7-night, and there was only like one that season. The rest of them were like 4 and 5 night ones. So right, so those are always the more unique itineraries also tend to book up with higher Castaway Club status. But the Treasure is just booking. I mean, she's doing well. Like people are just booking her left and right because obviously she's a wonderful ship, and she's, I think, really attractive to Parks fans, as we've talked about on the show before. Well, let's talk about the trip. And you guys are traveling from out of town. When did you get in for the cruise? Like, I'm imagining not the day of, but tell me.
Exactly. And not only did we not do the day of, we did the day before the day before. So we came out on Thursday just to be on the safe side of things. We've got DVC membership. So we got in late Thursday, just did the cheapest available room for Thursday night, which was, I think we were in Saratoga. And now because Disney offers the water park for free on the day that you check in. So Thursday night we were in Saratoga. Friday we stayed at Beach Club. And so that meant that we got to go into the water parks on Friday. So we went and took the kids to the water park on Friday, got to do that and have fun, and then sailed out on Saturday morning.
That's a great idea. I will tell you, we thought about doing the water park when we had come back off the Treasure because we had like a one night that we stayed.
We should have.
We should have.
Pool at the Grand Floridian was not great.
Yeah, I gotta put this out there. Grand Floridian, you need to update your pools. Like it's just not great. It doesn't compare to Riviera or Beach Club or.
Well, there just wasn't enough chairs on the.
There was, yeah. I mean, well, that too, but like even the pool wasn't as nice. So yeah.
And I'm a big fan of this perk. I mean, it's already included in the cost, and so you just go there and you do as much or as little as you'd like, and you don't feel bad if you only spend a couple of hours and head back. But it worked out well. It was fairly crowded, but the lines went quickly, so we had a good time.
Yeah. Well, and super smart if you don't want to spend the money on a single day park ticket for the amusement parks, because you're not getting like a full day. And so they're so like the single day park tickets nowadays, well, really any of the park tickets nowadays, but they're so expensive. And so that's why we ended up doing a pool day, because we're like, we just can't stomach spending that much money for not even a whole day in the parks. It just seems sort of ridiculous.
Well, and it was spring break. I mean, it was going to be crowded,
yes,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Spring break, like you guys did,
and Easter weekend
as well. Yeah. And so it's just, it's going to be really crowded. The lines are going to be long. All right. Yeah. So you guys were...
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, we have passes, which is nice because we actually did go into Epcot the night before for dinner, but our kids don't. So we just went in and snuck it. Well, Todd wanted to do Muppets before it ended. So we did Muppet Vision, and then we did dinner at Epcot. So that was fun. But that's the benefit of a pass is you can just go for a few hours. We wouldn't have bought tickets otherwise.
And I just want to throw in for the Disney folks who are listening, because I know they've got to be listening, we need a Muppets restaurant on a future ship.
Yes.
I don't know why this hasn't happened yet. You could do multiple nights, just insert it. If you have to refresh the Marvel restaurant, replace it with Muppets, and boom, we're set.
I love it.
Everyone would love it.
Yes, and it can be all done on screens. We don't like, as much as I would love live Muppets, like I will tell you
that would be tough because they have so few of those.
Right,
yeah, those
right.
folks,
As much as we would love live Muppets, I'm not going to ask for that because I know that would mean having like not just a puppeteer, a Muppeteer. You'd have to have multiple Muppeteers on board who can do the voices and all of that, which isn't going to happen. But I also know that like this is just a funny tangent. So on our Instagram, there is a reel that is literally me videoing the TV in our stateroom from the Treasure Maiden voyage, and it's a Muppets video, and it's them on the bridge. And I swear to God, that video has like 74,000 views, more than any other reel I've ever created. And it's literally a video of a TV screen. It's not even a live like Muppets.
It has more views than the video we took of Muppets on the ship, like actual Muppets.
I have a video of the Muppets in the balcony, right? And the video of the video has more views than the one of the balcony.
So many food. You could do frog legs. You could do.
You can't eat Kermit.
You could do like pizza. You could do Swedish food. There's so much. I agree. It's a great idea.
And I just
you can't have frog legs and you can't have ham.
I just want to sit there and have the old men heckle me throughout the meal, though. I think that would just be a fantastic thing. There's so many possibilities. So.
Totally. Statler and Waldorf would be awesome. I'd love it. And Rizzo we'll have his pizza. We could have Rizzo's pizza.
Rizzo.
That's exactly. Oh my God. I love this idea, you guys. This is perfect. Yeah. Anything Muppets, just bring it on to this is why Midship Detective Agency should be on every ship because you need that Muppet storyline. Yeah.
Actually, I'm picturing in my head the show that happens when Kermit realizes the menu contains frog legs and Kermit realizes that the menu has like bacon or something on it.
I love it. All right. So you guys are traveling from Beach Club then to Port Canaveral. Did you take Disney transportation? Did you rent a car, hire a driver? What did you do?
Sure. So we did a one-way car rental this time around, and it worked out great. We hadn't done that before. I just dropped everybody off at the port and then drove back over and took the car. I grabbed an Uber. It was less than $10 and was a whole lot easier than trying to time a shuttle or anything. And so we were separate on check-in a little bit where they got through the line and went through, and then I came through just a few minutes later.
Yeah. Now, did they have any trouble with the fact that you didn't all check in together, or did you just check in the one room, or did you check in everybody except Todd, basically?
Luckily we were able to check in everybody except for Todd, which I was a little bit worried about because Todd and the boys were technically assigned to one room, even though that's not how we did it. But you have to have an adult, right? And I was worried they wouldn't let the boys check in, but because it was all we linked, it ended up. Because we've had a lot of issues with being in separate rooms. Like sometimes they're real persnickety about being with the person in the room, but this time was fine. So it worked out.
Yeah, we worried about that in advance. But really worst case scenario, they'd be hanging out 15 minutes until I got back.
Yeah. And remind us the ages of your kids.
Sure. So we've got 4 kids. Our oldest is 17 and he opted out of this trip. So he was having time on his own. Yep. He decided he was not going to be spending time on a ship with us, but he managed, had a good time, and it was a good growing experience for him. He spent time on his own doing other things as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he opted out, and we thought he might regret it, but he's told us he hasn't so far. But so we had our 3 younger ones who are now 15, 13, and 11. And
they're still liking the cruise line, I take it then.
Yeah, so I would say the 11 and 15-year-old like it a lot. Obviously, the oldest does not. And sometimes if he doesn't want to go with something, we're like, well, it's fine. You can just stay at the hotel or whatever. But where you have such limited space on the cruise, to have a kid who just wants to be in the room all the time, grouchy, we were just like, no, that's not worth it. And so the 11 and 15-year-old had a good time. The 13-year-old, he had a fine time. He's not as into like the club. He did not really get into the clubs, and so he's a little bit more grouchy about it as well. But yeah, we're 2 for 4.
I mean, that's pretty good odds, right? I mean, if you're batting 500, that you're a good hitter, right? So
into the Hall of Fame. So we're feeling pretty good about that.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's talk about embarkation day on the Treasure. You obviously did that. You said you did the check-in process kind of in a split way, but how long was the process, and did you get on board quickly? And what was your port arrival time?
Yeah, I think our port arrival time was around, and this is another one where it's kind of crazy how it's changed with even being gold. I think our port arrival time was around noon. I can't remember exactly. We actually didn't end up getting there until close to 1, I think.
And the other wrinkle is we actually had 2 port arrival times because the gold set had one, and then we had another that was an hour later. And we've, looked into the things and read, Disney's recommendation is you just go with the later one. Other people say, hey, we just showed up with the earlier. They let us through. They've got the policy that's written, and then people's experiences have been different. So we wondered, hey, should we go with the earlier one? And we ended up showing up about the time of our later one anyway. So it was a moot point.
We were aiming for the earlier, but by the time we got our act together and got out of the room and drove, it was a pretty long wait to get into
the garage
court. Yeah. Even though we were just doing drop off, that was pretty long wait. We did see an alligator. So I was really excited about that because that was the first alligator in
at the port.
Yep.
Yeah, at the port. There's ponds everywhere, right? There was this pond and there was an alligator there. So I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, it was a little bit long wait. So by the time we got there, the lines moved pretty fast. And by the time, there was just walk on whenever. You didn't have to, the numbers were all basic. Not, the numbers weren't all called, but it was thin enough that they weren't holding you back. So by the time we got through and Todd got through, then we just walked on the ship. So it was, the biggest wait was really just that wait in the car. There was a huge line of cars doing drop off. After that, it was smooth.
Yeah. And you guys had been on the Wish before, so you sort of knew what to expect as far as layout goes. But what were your sort of first impressions of the ship? I'm sure you didn't keep yourselves from seeing things ahead of time. I know there are some people who sort of avoid spoilers, but it's a little bit hard to when you watched, and listen to a show like ours and to keep spoiler free. Sorry, guys. We always tell you, I guess you have to stop listening if you don't want spoilers. But what were your first impressions of the Treasure?
I thought it was beautiful. I mean, the problem with me is my favorite ship is whichever ship I'm on. And so I'm easy to please. I think there's positives to all the classes of ship. I think the common consensus is that Treasure has now surpassed the Wish, though this go around. I agree with that as well. But I'm not super critical on that regard. I thought it was beautiful when we walked in, and I'm okay with there not being a set of elevator banks in the middle of the ship. It's fine by me. And I think it's a great space.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful ship. We don't mind the smaller spaces. A couple times, and I know people on the show have commented on this for trivia or even animation, those spaces can get pretty crowded. So you do have to get places ahead of time. But otherwise, I think it's a beautiful space. The one space I think is tricky is Sarabi. I think Sarabi is a beautiful space, but the way it's set up, there's a lot of seats without a view of the stage, right?
Especially in the top one. Yeah.
So really, if there was something in Sarabi that we wanted to see, you'd get there early, which is, that's fine. But so that space, I think, is this odd setup for the types of events that they do there.
I was going to say, and the fact that it's disconnected, where to get upstairs, you've got to go around the corner and up, down the hall and then go up the stairs and then cut back, where it just feels a little bit disjointed. It doesn't feel like a uniform space. I think there's creative options they can do with it. I just think in practice, it doesn't work out quite well. We had once time where we had great seats and just happened to be behind somebody that was tall, and the seat turned lousy from that space. And I feel like some of the other lounge spaces on the other ships, you've got a little bit more tiered seating. It spreads out wider. There's better viewing angles. And so, that one's just a little bit tricky there.
Yeah. But overall, I think it's a beautiful ship. Love the design, love the colors, love the carpet, love all the things. I think it's really pretty.
Yeah, the carpet, right? I mean, I know it's a funny thing to say, but it's just so true. The carpets are on all of the Disney ships, they've done a wonderful job in picking sort of unique design carpets and whatnot. But the Treasure, it's I don't know, it seems like another level even of creativity throughout everywhere on the ship. There's like this gorgeous carpet. And I kind of love in the grand hall, I love how it's like that fountain when the stairs are basically like a river that leads into a fountain on the floor. Like if you look at the carpet from all the way up above. Yeah, it's just incredible. All right. Well, we got to talk about, embarkation day traditions. Where do you guys go for lunch on embarkation day? That's really important.
We've done sit down dining each time we have, that's what we've done. And that's just been a little bit time to decompress from, traveling to get over onto the ship and just settle down there and do that. And so we've done that each time, I think, right?
Yeah. Where was that? Was
it Coco?
Yes, it was in Coco.
Coco.
Yes, thank you. That's where it was. Yep.
Yeah. They've switched it up. On the Wish, it was. I think they've switched it even now on the Wish. On the Wish, it used to be that one side of 1923 was concierge and the other side of 1923 was just regular, but sit down lunch was always in 1923. And then I think more recently, they switched it so that the concierge lunch is still in 1923, but the regular lunch is in, I think, Arendelle. And so when they launched the Treasure, I think from the get-go, they did it that way. And I think that's a better...
It's probably space, because you only have half of 1923 available to you, where you see the entire dining restaurant and the other venues. So, yeah.
Exactly. I think it spreads it out. Yeah. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they've found that more cruisers at least more seasoned cruisers are choosing that sit down lunch option.
It's a direct line back to the DCL Duo's love of the sit down lunch. Sorry, Disney. If you want us to redirect traffic anywhere, just let us know.
We'll tell people always use different elevators.
The deck is a little chaotic that day, so we like doing it.
Yeah, and we kind of got our routine where we do the sit down. We take just in our day pack swimsuits so that people can just change into those if they want, and we don't have to worry about when the luggage is going to show up. On this particular cruise, I happened to walk by and noticed there were just hordes of people sitting on the stairs waiting for those barriers to drop down so they could get into their room, and we didn't have that concern. So we just got to go explore the ship a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a great tip out there for people who are, cruising maybe for the first time or the second time. Like if you want to hit those pools, maybe the water slide, early on, either wear your swimsuit under your clothes or carry on that swimsuit with you, because chances are you're not going to get to your room and have your luggage fast enough in order to do that. And you can easily change, and there's plenty of restrooms you can change in, on board throughout the ship, on the pool deck, wherever. So yeah, super great pro tip out there for people. All right, well, let's start. Should we start with the ports, Brian? What do you think?
I always love to start with the ports because I think people are always interested in shore excursions. What'd you get up to? That kind of stuff. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we did Tortola, San Juan, and Castaway, right? All right, perfect. In that order, I think. All right, so let's start with Tortola. I got to ask, of course, did you book excursions through DCL? Did you book on your own, or did you just go out on your own?
Why did you go to Jost Van Dyke? No, I'm just
We did. So we've been to Tortola before. When we went before, we didn't book either through Disney. The last time we went to Tortola, we did like a catamaran, small group thing, right? And it was wonderful. Totally recommend it. But this time, since we had already done that, we booked a private, smaller boat. And we went to a couple of snorkeling spots and ended at Jost Van Dyke. So that was really fun. Yeah.
Who'd you use? Who'd you use for the private boat?
Look, because we originally booked through. It was. I can't remember. I can let you guys know after. So we had booked through somebody. It was not Chill Out Charters. I think you guys used Chill Out Charters, and I had seen that recommended before too. There was somebody else that had also been recommended, and then actually we kind of lucked out because the boat we were gonna use broke. And so kudos to this tour company because they found us another boat on through another provider that was actually nicer, bigger boat, but they honored our pricing. So we totally scored like this pretty nice boat for pretty cheap. So I'll send afterwards both because I would recommend either one, right? Because the one that we didn't go with, I really appreciated that they went out of their way to find us a backup when they were having technical difficulties. And then the one that we ended up going with was also great. So It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And we ended up at Jost Van Dyke Beach, and I'd never been there before and just fell in love with it immediately.
Oh, isn't it so beautiful?
It is amazing. And I was like, I would like to come back here. Like I was sitting there and I was already thinking, how do I get back here as I was sitting there?
See, the next time you go, you sit on the beach and you look and you go, how can I own a catamaran that's anchored off of Jost Van Dyke? So yeah, as I'm wearing my soggy dollar hat today, actually.
Yeah. I know we saw some catamarans out, and I know some people. I have a friend who, for a couple of summers, their like summer vacation was they chartered a catamaran and did like a week in the BVI. And I was saying, wouldn't that be fun? And my 11-year-old, who we do a thing where we take one kid on a trip, like for their whatever, just a mom or a parent-child trip. And he was like, yeah, let's do that for our parent-child trip. And I was like, yeah, probably not. Probably not going to
I love that.
just for you. But there's like a gazillion islands, right? So we just stopped at a snorkeling spot. Those kind of just are like rock in the middle of not nowhere, but it had a really nice reef, really good snorkeling, tons of fish. Probably other than Thailand, BVI is the best snorkeling that we've done anywhere. So
yeah, remarkably clear. And then you got to see an octopus.
Oh, yeah.
While you were out there.
Yeah.
You
wow.
did?
Yeah.
Yes, it was really cool. Yeah. Lucas. Yep.
Awesome. I love that. Well, and I have to say, like, if you're listening and want travel recommendations, like Erin does the kind of research that is, I don't even know what to call it. It's literally like the pillar of research for travel, like on all of the different, I mean, I know, Erin, you use all the different sites.
Hey, now, you're throwing me under a bus over here.
No.
Plans all of our travel.
Brian, you know, because Erin and Todd and the kids, they do a ton of like land travel too. And like, I have seen Erin's itineraries and it is like incredible, like what she plans.
Next time you can plan the trip to London. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna have Erin plan her trip. Erin, she's not even a travel agent.
Oh, well, I'm gonna leave the show now and leave you to it. Apparently, I'm just not up to par.
Yeah. She also writes a great trip report, by the way. So anyway, sorry.
What we're saying here is that both Sam and I married great trip planners. That's what I'm
married great trip planners. Absolutely, Todd, because I am definitely not the trip planner.
Remember that when Nathan and I are sitting up in first and you're in coach on our next European trip.
Listen, on our last trip that happened, me and Nathan were we were technically in premium economy, but Brian was in first class.
I make sure you're taken care of. I can't help it if they upgrade me.
Anyway, all right. Well, okay. So obviously a great charter in Tortola and ended up in Jost Van Dyke. Fantastic. That's always like, I think, a great recommendation for anyone. There are a lot of decent private charter companies out there that you can charter a boat with, and as you mentioned, Erin, your last time you guys did it with another family, and that's always a good thing to spread out the cost as well. All right, well, let's jump over to San Juan, because you actually did get to go to San Juan, which is really cool because I know a lot of ships have been canceling their calls to San Juan because of the construction situation, I think, going on at the port there. But what did you guys get up to for San Juan Day?
We did a food tour. So we had booked a private food tour through Flavors of San Juan was what it was called. We started that at like 11. So we first took an Uber to the fort. What is it? El Moro? Something like that, right? The big fort. There's a huge castle, right? Yeah, there's a couple. One's bigger and one's a little bit smaller. We went to both, but we started at that El Moro. It's a national park. It's really cool. Like, and I will say, I actually was kind of bummed we weren't going to St. Thomas because we loved our day at St. Thomas on our last cruise. But I thought San Juan was really cool. So the fort was really, really cool. Lots of really interesting history. We were pretty short on time, so we just kind of like ran around, but that was really cool, really beautiful views. And then we went to the meeting spot for our food tour, which was in Old Town San Juan. And we do food tours most places that we go. I think it's a really good way to get a sense of the culture and the history. You kind of get a little bit of everything. And this was one of the best, probably the best food of any food tour, maybe less the best history and culture, but like best food, probably any food tour is really good.
Awesome. Do you remember what company that was through?
Yeah, Flavors of San Juan.
Flavors of San Juan. Okay, good to know. So a good recommendation. Maybe the next time we go to San Juan, Brian, we'll have to book that. Now, did the kids like the food? Because that's always a touch and go with food tours.
Sure. And I mean, we've got kids who are particular eaters. We found when we travel, though, they're a little bit more adventurous where that thing gets put out in front of them. They're willing to give it a try. At home, it's a bit more of a battle on people to expand their horizons, but they're willing to give things a try. But they ended up liking things also. There's a couple of times where I got to have 2 of something, and I never complain about that. But yeah, for the most part, I think they enjoyed the food as well.
Yeah.
And the foods that our guide selected were really approachable. Nothing too crazy where you look at it and think, okay, am I ready for this? And so for kids, it was really manageable for them.
Yeah, it actually, so 2 of them are pretty picky, but when we're trying new things, they don't know that they don't like it yet. Like at home, it's like, I've tried that before 5 years ago and I know I don't like it. But when you're in another country, they don't have that excuse, and they've tried some crazy stuff and didn't necessarily like it, but they'll try it. But this was like a croissant. There was like some pastries with guava jam. There was some popsicles. There were empanadas. There were the what's the thing called that's like the famous
mofongo?
Yeah, mofongo, right? Which they didn't necessarily love that, but like it's also just rice and beans and meat and that. Like that's pretty approachable, and then really good tres leches cake. So yeah, it was great. I've never been so stuffed on a food tour as that one.
It was delicious. No, we talked about how we'll look into the future at cruises that are leaving from San Juan, just to have some time to be a part of that part of the country and explore the island a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, sounds like San Juan was a hit. What about it? Did you get up at anything? Did you do anything at Castaway beyond relax?
So we've never actually been to the adults only beach because we've always kids around with us. And so we've just been, now they're a little bit older, they're more independent and doing things. And so like with at least one of our kids, he just found the kids club group and was off with them and doing things with the teens. And the others would relax on the beach. And so we went over there for the first time and just really enjoyed that. Just the tranquility that's there. We understand the hype now.
Yeah, nice. And did you try the steak over there? Because that's the one thing that they don't have at the family beach.
Didn't go for lunch. We didn't go till after lunch. So we got a drink over there. And then I love the beach over there and how shallow it is, like for forever. You can just walk out forever and ever and ever. So I liked that beach more than any of the beaches in that kind of family area.
And it was nice. I mean, they have some music playing at the bar, but if you just walk down the beach, you don't hear anything. And so you just have, the motion of the water going, and it's a peaceful time to be over there.
Yeah, we liked it.
Yeah, it is definitely. I mean, you don't have all the kid noise, and not to say, I mean, Castaway is a beautiful beach, and even the family beach. We tend to spend our time there too. I mean, it's been a long time since we have had a chance to really spend time at Serenity, and maybe it's in our soon future. I think because, like as Nathan gets older and more independent, we will have some time to explore Serenity Bay again. But yeah, it's really nice to have that like quiet because you don't have that on the family beach at all. Yeah.
I did the 5K. I go do that every time just to see how much I'm aging every year. And I do miss the formal 5K that they used to have. I don't miss the hassle of getting off the ship in a group and getting out there and doing that sort of thing. But I did like just having it in place. I thought that was a fun feature. Erin did the unofficial 5K, which is dashing off the ship to go get us chairs. We had a certain time when it was going to be when we could get off the ship. And then it ended up being 45 minutes earlier that they said, okay, you can go anyway. And so Erin happened to be ready and just grabbed a bag and ran. And then the rest of us came off a little bit later.
That happened to us too on our last sailing.
But 30 minutes earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hate that Disney's doing that because all it's going to do is encourage people to start lining up in the stairwells 45 minutes to an hour before the posted disembarkation time. And like, if you post a disembarkation time, stick to the disembarkation time. I mean, if you think you're going to get there early, like update the app by a half hour or something. But yeah, it was, I worry because people already line up. So if, if you give them a hint that like, maybe if you're there early, they'll let you off early. Are you listening to our show because you want to make the most out of your next vacation? Great news. The fabulous team over at My Path Unwinding Travel can help guide you so you don't miss a thing. Their team of professional travel advisors are caring, knowledgeable, and experienced. It's why we use them to book our own travel. My Path Unwinding Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner, which means they are recognized by Disney for their expertise and service. They have sailed on all the Disney ships, including in concierge, visited the theme parks, adventured with Disney, relaxed at Aulani, and so much more. Whether it's a Disney cruise, a theme park vacation, or Adventures by Disney, or if you are looking to expand beyond the mouse, My Path Unwinding Travel will elevate your next vacation planning experience. Even if you have already booked, reach out for a complimentary consultation to make your vacation even more magical. Ready to talk to the experts? Head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. Thanks, My Path Unwinding, for sponsoring today's show. Now back to the episode. Did you have, so we keep hearing these reports, like the beaches are so full, they're overcrowded.
Well,
no
we're hearing
chairs,
mixed things. Mixed things,
yeah. What was your experience with the beach?
It is crowded. Like, especially I think, if you're on the Wonder versus the Treasure, there's more people in the same space, right? And we like the family beach by the Pelican Plunge, by the slide, because we like the slide, but that's a smaller area, right? So I would say there was definitely times of the day, not the whole day, but there were times of the day where, and it's a pretty small swimming area, right? Because they have it all roped off. It was a little people soupy. But I don't really care. Like, there's people, I guess that's just manage your expectations that there are going to be people there. But again, I feel like not the whole day. There were pockets of times where it felt pretty crowded and there were a lot of people in the water. And then there were pockets of time that weren't. So, and then and you could also we kind of had our stuff there. It's a good spot because it's close to Cookies too. It's close to drink stations. So we like this spot, but you can also just go find some other spots if you want a quieter spot at some point. So it can be busy, but I think it's because it's a really cool place. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fun place.
And I'd say, we were spoiled when we had reduced capacity in the wake of the pandemic. And so we've got that as a little bit of a frame of reference that gave us a distorted view of what it could be like. And no, it doesn't feel overly crowded. There's people. It's spring break. You're going to bring your family there. And so, I wasn't deterred by the crowds.
Yeah. And I have found that you don't need to get off early to get a spot unless you have a particular spot you want to be. If you want to be, like, for example, Erin, the spot that you choose, you're right. It is a smaller beach area. It's that sort of end of Family Beach 1. It's the end and so it's right before you get to Family Beach 2. And so it is kind of a smaller spot over there. And so if that's where you want to be, then you might want to, get there early. But there are seats. You just might have to walk further to find them, I think.
Yeah. Well, and we're picky. Like, we were front row with shade. If you're willing to be further back, unwilling, I mean, it's fine to be further back because you can always go sit closer, right? There were always seats available. It wasn't like you weren't going to get a seat, but if you are particular about you want to be right on the water and you want to make sure you have enough shade and all that, then yeah, getting there earlier is helpful. But also we have found that it clears out, like, people, I don't know if people are afraid they're going to get left, but like everyone goes back to the ship at like 2. It's kind of funny. Or maybe they're just tired or whatever.
And on this one, I mean, Moana was showing early. And so that's a reason.
That's part of it.
That would pull a lot of people. But even on other days, I
feel like we're always like to the very, very end, last shuttle. And that last hour and a half, 2 hours is pretty empty.
Yeah. So we are those people who leave at around like 2 or 3. Like we always leave early, and it's because
it depends. It depends during the summer for sure because it's really hot.
For us, it gets our Seattle bodies get too hot being out there for that many hours, and then also Castaway is usually your last day, right? And we always want to get some packing. We get like sort of anxious to get packing stuff, so that our evening is a little bit more relaxing. So I think it's sort of a how do you pack kind of situation for us. And so, as you mentioned, Moana is a huge part of this, I think, as well, because on the Treasure right now, the way they've been doing the itinerary, Moana is being shown on the final day, Castaway Day, and they're doing 3 showings. You've got a matinee at, I don't know, 2 or 3. I can't remember which one it was. And then you've got the early show and the late show in the evening. And it is filling up. I mean, all 3 shows, from what we're hearing and from what we experience, all 3 shows are filling up the theater, to the gills. And so if everyone wants to, a lot of people want to get it back on board so they can see the early show and kind of get that again also out of the way and then deal with their packing. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's jump back on board to the beautiful Disney Treasure and hear what you guys got up to on board. Obviously, we mentioned this was your first time on the Treasure. She's got some new experiences. I think you guys had maybe the first week of the new Sage and Coriander. When I say
Sam's
the
newest obsession,
I'm obsessed. I mean, everybody knows it. I'm obsessed with Sage and Coriander. I'm obsessed with the main stage cast, the storytellers.
We got to design a magnet and a T-shirt for you, Sam. I don't know what it's going to look like.
Sage and Coriander, #1 fan, basically.
Yeah.
But they had just done a changeover from cast #1 to cast #2, and cast #2 was on board for a couple of weeks shadowing cast #1. But I think you guys probably saw their first week, and it was before I think maybe Sage got injured. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. There was not an injured Sage.
Right.
Yeah, she
first thing that was Sage for us. You saw her. You said she played a different part in one of the main stage things.
She was Belle,
right?
Oh,
and so I
okay.
That this was somebody that was the fill-in for.
Yes. That's
Sage
right.
Show, right.
I'm mixing it up. You guys were at the end of April. I was thinking you're at the end of March, right? You're at the end of April.
End of March, beginning of April.
End of March, beginning of April. Okay. So then you were a couple weeks. Oh, so you know what? You weren't the first week then. You were like the second or third week of the new cast, which was after Sage had gotten injured. So Sage was actually gone. So who you saw you saw multiple people playing the roles. But yes, Belle, that's what we experienced. Belle was the same, Sage, I'll call it, in the Indiana Jones show, but we had somebody else in the Jungle Cruise game show.
Okay, that makes sense because I was confused about the whole Sage and Coriander situation because, obviously, we listened to the show, we knew what to look for, we were super excited about it. We did watch the Jungle Cruise thing, and it was the same guy, but not her. It was a different girl, and then we saw the Indiana Jones show, and then she was Belle as well. And I'm like, well, that's probably why she's not in all the things, because that's a lot. And then they never did, I don't think they ever did the lamp Aladdin thing on our sailing, because that other thing we were looking for, right. They didn't do it. And then I think I found out later that they hosted a match your mate or something, and we didn't know that, so we didn't go to that, which is a bummer because I would have gone if we'd known. But it's hard they don't list them as it's Coriander and Sage, right? You just have to know what to go to, and we didn't know that.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. So Match Your Matey, which is the pirate night version of Match Your Mate, is something that is supposed to be hosted by Sage and Coriander. I'm not sure who the female, because we didn't go see it on our last sailing because we were busy in Palo. Yeah, I don't know who was the female basically who co-hosted it with Coriander, but yes, that's exactly what you experienced is exactly what we experienced on this most recent sailing, and they did not do the Aladdin Tales from the Lamp retelling. what I have heard, and I don't know, we're recording this, it's May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. This will come out in like July, but I don't know when the new Sage is coming on. I have heard that somebody was coming to fill the position, but basically the person who had some kind of bad like leg or ankle or something injury and had to leave. And so they were filling in with sort of, I'm calling them understudies, but it wasn't like a set understudy, one person, right? There's so many, as you mentioned, Erin, it's a lot for the person who's doing Belle. They are, they're in the other stage shows as well. And so they can't be like everywhere else at the same time and learning all those different parts. And so they kind of split it up amongst other people. They also do the tea, which I know you didn't go to because it's typically for, younger kids. Not that an 11-year-old can qualify to go to the tea, but I would not say generally it's worth it unless you have an 11-year-old girl who's really into princesses. That's who I would, any 3 to 12, if a girl or boy princess fan, that's who should go to the adventure tea. And you don't need to take the whole family to the adventure tea. It's really, and it's a one and done. But it is another thing that the Sage and Coriander characters do.
Well, that makes sense. She was terrific. She was really good in the Indiana Jones thing. In fact, that was before Beauty and the Beast. And she's so funny. And then it was Belle. It almost kind of threw me off because I was like, that's like jarring. But she was really good in both. So.
Yeah, totally agree. What did you think of the Jungle Cruise game show? It's definitely like it's trying to be punny and quirky, and of course it is family friendly in the Grand Hall.
Right. So we showed up for it. We didn't show up early enough to be a part of the boats themselves. And I would say if you're not in the boats, it's not that great of an experience. We couldn't really hear the jokes, didn't follow exactly what was going on. And so, we watched it for a little bit, and the people participating in that seemed to be having a great time. And so, on a future cruise, we'll show up a few minutes early and try and participate in that. But as far as viewing it, if somebody's thinking about potentially watching that, I think it's, I wouldn't recommend just going to try and watch it.
Yeah. I think watching the very beginning of it, because then they're talking to the whole audience, that part is okay. But then once they kind of start the game and interaction, I totally agree with you, Todd. It's really, you can't really follow it unless you're in one of the boats. And so it is, because they're not necessarily because there's two people talking, so they're not necessarily using the microphones during the entire game show thing. And so, it isn't, because I have now participated in it twice and watched it once. And when I watched it, I didn't stay for the whole thing. I watched the first 5-10 minutes and then I left because I was like, yeah, it's fun, but it's not the same unless you're participating in it. So great tip. I will say there are people who are showing up quite a bit early for that experience, because I showed up, I want to say 10 or 15 minutes early the last time, and I did not initially get a spot in the boat. I was the first on the wait list, and I did make it in the boat because somebody else decided not to do it. So,
right. We've got this rope drop culture in Disney, right? People are going to show up early and do that. And we noticed that Erin mentioned this earlier, that with the lounge spaces being smaller, you had to show up early to get into trivia, which doesn't seem like the kind of vibe that I want for a trivia. I just want to drop in and happen to grab a pencil and sit down at an open table. And for some of them, you had to watch the ending of the previous thing and watch them clean up and get ready in order to just participate in something that's a, pretty relaxed environment.
Yeah, especially the family trivias. It seems like those are, they're all kind of oversubscribed, but I think you're right, because the spaces are smaller, particularly when they, have it in like a Sarabi or in a Triton's. Triton's very much so, because the Triton's is quite small. I'm also baffled when they do like the late karaoke in Triton's, because it's also really quite small. And so, there are certain activities. Unfortunately, there's good and bad, right, to the Wish class ships. But one of the sort of negative things is that all of the spaces, other than obviously like the Walt Disney Theater and the dining rooms, because there's more spaces, they're all smaller. And that means that there's more of a space limit for a lot of these activities.
Oh, I think too, again, just there are a lot of experienced cruisers. People know what they want to go to. Mm-hmm. You have to get to stuff early. We lined up. I mean, we're part of the problem, I guess, because for Beauty and the Beast and Moana, we lined up an hour early to get good seats. I will say though, like they're such good shows. And if you think of the hassle of trying to go to a show like on Broadway, you're going to spend a bunch of money. You're going to spend a bunch of time. So to me, I'm like, it's no big deal. I just like take my Kindle and read in line. But that there are a lot of people that do that because they want, you want good seats. Well, and even if you even want a seat at all to the big shows, you really do have to get there. You can't show up as it's starting. You won't get a seat. But.
Yeah, absolutely. And they are opening the doors about 30 minutes before, it seems like nowadays. And so you really are having to, it used to be you get there like 5 minutes before they open the door and you'd be okay. You might not get like, if you wanted front row, you needed to get there early, but like you could get decent seats. But you're right. Now you really do have to show up, unfortunately. Yes. And I'm part of the problem as well. Be part of the solution. But
hold on. Wait. Let's define that. Like I don't think it's wrong for people to line up at the theater. I don't think there's any other way to do it other than if Disney wanted to somehow do like a sign, you could reserve seating or something like that, which I think Royal does some of, if I remember correctly. But like, the theater is a small space, and if you want the best seats, then that's something you got to do. My beef is usually with like Castaway and like racing off the ship, which Castaway is supposed to be like a relaxing experience, and or with dining where you have you don't get a different seat when you show up early.
Yeah. We do not line up for dining. I don't. That people do, and it's.
I don't understand it. Yeah, I just don't understand that. So I think there's times. Yeah.
I don't think it's a big deal, but it is. I mean, the lines will stretch back clear to like the skipper, whatever that.
Society.
The lines stretch back pretty far, but again,
and that's why I'll just sit at Skipper Society and have a drink.
No, I'm frankly surprised that they haven't started charging for a premium seating option. I know Concierge can get in, has the early option as well, but just for other guests to try that.
Don't give them that idea.
I think Disney would face a ton of backlash because their sort of ethos is we're not going to nickel and dime you once you get on board, right? So like I think they really want to keep it as like everything's included. There's a few things like an adult dining that are an upcharge, but like everything else is sort of fair game and included. So if they started charging for special seating in the theaters, then I think people would be like, wait a second,
I mean, one thing.
Although one thing I would pay for. I would pay for reserved deck chairs at the adult pool.
True. Brian would. But like, I do think they set themselves apart, like particularly in the like soft drink category, right? Like a lot of, every other cruise line charges you for soft drinks, and Disney, I think a lot of people appreciate that they don't have to buy a drink package for sodas and juices and iced teas and things like that. And
although I really think they should just extend that to any bar. Like it's crazy to me you have to go to this one location.
Oh yeah, I agree.
With the fountain. Like we can't just give you a can of soda, know?
The soda should be, I agree. I think it's kind of silly that if you order a soda from a bar, you pay, X amount of dollars. But if you went to the pool deck, anyway. Yeah. But they would just need to probably put soda machines in more places in order to deal with that. Yeah.
We went on another cruise line for the first time last summer. And now going back on Disney, I appreciate more than ever this lack of nickel and diming that, we paid in advance. And we just show up and take care of this. And I really.
And once you introduce the prepaying stuff, then you get into the whole Royal Caribbean model of like, well, it's 30% off right now. Do I buy it now? Do I wait to see if it's a better sale? Do I buy it and then refund it and buy it? We just went through that for a spring break cruise next year. And like, I'm just like, it's all 35% off right now. You better leap on it, kind of thing. So,
and I don't mind. I mean, offering somebody a paid option that doesn't really impact other people, I don't really care. But I would not like it if all of a sudden huge chunks of seats in those theaters, you already do have the concierge people who can get there early, and they already, there's a chunk there once you get let in, but whatever, that's like a pretty small handful. If they started having like all these seats roped off for paid people, that then impacts your experience. And that's where I get super annoyed.
Totally. It's like when you see the people going through like the lightning lane line, you're like, well, you paid for that, so it's okay. But like if all we're doing is having lightning lanes, then everybody else is getting screwed. Yeah.
Okay, next up, Club 33 at Sea. There you go. Yeah. What would be a Club 96, right? That'll be what it is, the year they started cruising.
No, 98.
98? Oh,
Yeah.
I guess they announced it in 96, but yeah.
All right. Well, what about some of the other experiences on board? What kinds of things did you all get up to other than stalking Sage and Coriander on my advice?
What did you? I worked a lot on this trip, so that's what I'm like.
Erin. Oh.
So we can talk about the Wi-Fi package.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
But no. So yeah, variety of things with kids. We'd go find trivia things. I still like doing the drawing classes, even though it's a video. I don't have very much artistic talent, but I make my little picture and it feels so much better. Everyone else's looks way better than mine. But mine, relative to what I would do on my own, I just feel proud of myself when I do these little sketches there. So I have fun doing that. The energy of the host is going to dictate how the drawing things go, especially now with the video. And we had good people there. We did the Star Wars Superfan Challenge with my boy. And I had a proud father moment where the three of us all got to the stage together.
Wow.
We got eliminated quickly by the true superfans out there. But, we had enough working knowledge of Star Wars to get ourselves up to the front of the room for a little bit. So that was a fun family moment to have that.
That's pretty cool.
We always love doing this ship tour as early as possible in the cruise. I think because then I think you appreciate so much the rest of the cruise. And that now you book in advance.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Show up right on the schedule. You book it in advance. And it almost looks like it's a paid thing, but it's not. It's kind of, but anyway. We did that on probably our first day, I think.
It's either the first or the second.
Either the first or second day. I love those because I love then they point out all the stuff you wouldn't otherwise know. So then you can look for it. So love that. We go to pretty much all of the evening shows. They had a brother and sister Broadway duo on this sailing. So they were amazing. And they did an adult show. And they did a family show, and they also did like a Q&A with one of the kids clubs, I think. But that's always fun. So he originated the role of Aladdin when Aladdin was first on Broadway, and she had played Jasmine on Broadway, not at the same time.
That'd be a little weird.
Yeah, I know, but that was super fun. So we really liked their shows. I'm always a fan of music if they have good people. I will say, on both the Dream sailing last year and on this sailing, I did not love, I feel like they have a lot of pianists that don't sing. And I'm like, no, I don't really care to just go listen to piano. And then I didn't love the band. When we were on the Magic sailing with you guys and then on our Wish sailing, there was a really good band that we would go see that I really enjoy that. But there wasn't really, I didn't love the people that were on this ship. So that was a bummer. But yeah.
Did you like the shows? I don't think I asked you about the shows.
Yeah. So the shows are I love Disney Seas Adventure. I think that's their best variety show. Right?
100%.
Love that. I had seen Beauty and the Beast on the Dream and absolutely love that. Even though it's not really probably my favorite Disney show, I think the musical version, the stage version is really good. And then of course Moana is amazing. It's so good. So yeah, we really loved the shows. They did Snow White because it was new
in the theater, the movie theater.
And then they had a ventriloquist and a magician and all the things. But yeah, the stage shows, that's the best. That's the best lineup of stage shows of any of the ships for sure.
I agree. I think that's
those ones are so good.
Yeah. I think that, I think overall Treasure is number 1 for shows. I'd actually put the Magic as number 2 for shows because you've got, Tangled, and that's just a phenomenal, and you got Twice Charmed. And yeah, it's that one to me, that's a great lineup as well. But totally agree. I think Treasure is number 1. Well, we got to talk food because, of course, you had new dining experiences. You had the new show in Marvel. You had the same Marvel menu for night 1 as you have on the Wish, but obviously a new menu for night 2 and the new show. You have, of course, 2 new menus and 2 new shows in Plaza de Coco. And then we've got 1923, which has the same night 1 as the Wish, which is great, and then the terrible night 2 menu. But I want to hear sort of overall thoughts, overall impressions, and of course, in particular, what you guys thought of Coco and night 2 Marvel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved them. I stepped on the scale before and after and put on 10 pounds. So I was pretty happy with the food on the trip. I was like, all right, I got my money's worth this time. So yeah, it was outstanding.
That's why it's all you can eat.
I learned if I'm not pulling out my wallet, like I have no self-control. Like that's what's preventing me from eating more food any other time.
Oh my God, Todd, you and I are the same person because I'm the same way. That's why I don't go to buffets in general, like because I feel like I have to like eat my weight in food. Like I feel like I have to get my money's worth. And so like I just eat way too much. But yeah, it's a problem.
Well, I was going to say never sell concierge because then it doubles the food because it's like now there's tea sandwiches and free dinner appetizers.
I have done so much better on cruises with weight gain when I have not sailed in concierge because I cannot stay away from those little tea sandwiches and all the little appetizers and all that stuff. So I like need to, Brian, for my waistline, we need to not sail concierge ever again.
Well, Alaska.
We haven't been, but we are in Alaska. That's true. Yeah, Alaska's going to be a problem. Yeah.
So we started off with Marvel for our first night. And I really liked Marvel. I got the schnitzel and the gnocchi, so I could dip my schnitzel in the gnocchi. Thank you for that tip. The schnitzel wasn't dry that evening, so I could have had it on its own. It would have been great, but liked having it with the gnocchi as well. One of the things I liked about our team that was serving us on this ship was that when we'd get recommendations, he wouldn't pick an item from each of the categories. He wouldn't say, you do this entree, do this salad, do this soup. He would skip ones and just say, don't bother with the soup whatsoever. Or, you know what? I wouldn't do any of these salads. And he would just go through and he'd be willing to just go through and pick out different things and we could mix and match in that way. And I really liked that.
Yeah, I think we've learned over our sailings that you should really go with the recommendation. Well, if you have to learn to trust it, right? But like once you figure out, I mean, his recommendations were really spot on, not just from what and it's not just what he personally likes, but he's like, I know what people send back. I know what gets sent back. I know what people don't like. So it's not even about his personal taste. It's about, he's like really paying attention. This was the best serving team we've ever had. He was so good. I think he's going to go to Apollo soon. Like he was terrific. And you just, I've just learned you just listen to what they tell you, even if it's not what you would pick based on the descriptions. If you have a good team, that's kind of what we ended up doing. So yeah, we the first night's a little chaotic when Marvel's your first one because it's so loud. So that one we didn't really like talk to them very much, but it's just we got there a little late and it's kind of crazy. After that, it got we got to know them better. Yeah, Coco's amazing. I loved both nights of Coco. I think the show on the second night is better, but they were both great. We actually missed the bad 1923 menu. Now I'm glad to know that that's a bad menu because we went to Palo that night.
Perfect choice.
Yeah, and we had a good meal there. This was kind of funny. You guys know we're not drinkers, and Palo had a 0 proof thing like pairing, right?
Oh, well, cool.
So we thought 0 proof was mocktails. And here's what we learned. 0 proof is not a mocktail. It's very different. A mocktail is like a sugary soda equivalent, right? Like a virgin mojito.
It's going to be fruity and maybe have an umbrella.
Yeah.
Right.
0 proof is like the actual taste. So we've never had alcohol and we're having like some Manhattan and we're like, this is the worst thing we've ever tasted.
Oh my God. Did they give you like a 0 proof Heineken or something?
No, but like it was a 0 proof whiskey, I think. I don't even know. But that was
as someone who does drink, there is nothing good about trying to replace the alcohol with these. Like there is, I don't care what anyone out there says. I don't care about the commercials. There is no good 0 proof actual alcohol. Like I agree. Do the like sugary drink, like the juices and the stuff like
yes,
a mocktail is what you want. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was funny. It was a funny experience, but yeah, we learned our lesson. I mean, it was
listen, you did it for science, right? You did it for the show because I would not order the 0 proof. I would order with the alcohol in it. And so
everybody does the 0 proof because he also didn't seem to have like much of an idea of what it would entail. They were just kind of like making it up on the fly.
It's like the tuna sandwich at the steakhouse. Like they're like, nobody's ever ordered this. What are you doing here?
The tuna sandwich at the steakhouse. Oh my God.
Really good. Our server was good. It was good. That was just kind of, yeah. Just so you know, 0 proof, mocktail, not the same.
Not the same.
Very different. Very different.
Oh my God, I love that. That's hilarious. Well,
And
listen,
so-
you made a good choice skipping 1923's second menu. As I mentioned, it's the lobster menu, and it's just nothing on. There's like a venison on there. There's nothing great.
I think there's a bunch of people out there who are going to disagree with you just because it is lobster night. And you got to remember, Sam, not everyone gets to have lobster all the time.
I don't. Oh my God, Brian, you're making it sound like I'm I'm way bougier than I am.
You've had really good lobster. Don't pretend like you haven't.
No, but I can't. I wouldn't have it every night. I mean,
no, I'm not saying that. But like, there's plenty of people out there who just have not experienced the kind of lobster that you've gotten to experience, both from living in the Pacific Northwest and going to some really nice fine dining restaurants. So like, give people their lobster night, Sam. Let people have their lobster.
So we went to follow the two of us, and so we told the kids, you can go to 1923 on your own. The serving team will be there. They'll take care of you. And we told the team a night ahead of time about this. And they said, oh, we're going to make this into a special evening for them. They loved the whole idea of it. And so our kids go there. And like we said before, we have some kids who are not the most adventurous eaters all the time. And they get that menu. And one of them got the lobster. And then the other two both ordered, they have, what was it? It was like,
they ordered filet.
The filet.
Which they thought was steak. Because they like steak.
It's the venison.
Or fish. It was a fish.
It was a fish.
Oh, it was a fish fillet.
Yes.
And so they're like, this is not steak.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Some plain pasta showed up shortly thereafter, and they were all taken care of. But they had an adventure there.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Right. Filet can be fish or steak. Yeah.
And we love, I think one thing that the Wish class does way better than the other ships, right, is the pool deck food. We love all of those, Donald's and the barbecue and all of that's really good. I don't love Marceline's for breakfast. I think it's chaotic. I just don't. So I just usually skip breakfast, except when they had churro waffles. I went then. But so I try to avoid Marceline's, but I love the other deck food.
Yeah.
You like
same.
Marceline's. I just think it's chaotic.
Yeah, we're the same, Erin. We like Brian and I both like pretty much like I will occasionally go in and get something for breakfast and bring it back to the room for us or something like that. But like we find it chaotic. We will go for churro waffles because that's, we don't want to miss that. But, generally speaking, we will, even for lunch, we typically go for the pool deck food, especially on the Wish class, just, between, Chipotle at sea and barbecue at sea and hamburgers and pizza and all of that. It's all actually really good quality stuff on the Wish class at the Mickey's Festival of Foods, I think is what they call it. Now, we're going to have to wrap up here because I see how much time we've spent talking about all of this great stuff on the treasure. But I got to ask, is there anything that we've missed, like, either really good, really bad, or just different or remarkable about this ship that, maybe different from, one of the other ships?
Like you, I miss the midship detective agency. I think that's a fun way. I think, and also for kids to explore the ship and just see things. And I think that's a fun activity. That sort of thing's still missing from this class of ship. I can't remember what the name of the thing is that they have for the app.
Uncharted Adventure.
Thank you. Right. That is still in beta mode, it feels like. And it wasn't even an option on our sailing.
Yeah. I like the treasure a lot. I do like the adult areas on the fantasy and magic better. I like those adult areas better. And because of the adult areas on the Wish, and treasure, all the chairs mostly are on the sides and there's no shade at all. And I'm like a redheaded, I need shade. So I kind of missed, they were nice chairs, they were comfortable, but we never used them because there was zero shade. So we ended up, I love on the fantasy, the area that's all the way forward. I love sitting there and watching the water. And that's one of my favorite things to do on the ships. And so we eventually did find that other place that was all the way forward. That's right above the concierge deck.
Yeah. The Chip and Dale pool. That's, sort of where the horns are.
Yeah,
Yes.
that area. Yeah, which was loud. But otherwise, I liked that area. But I like the adult areas probably in the other ships better. But I don't really. I mean, there's plenty of areas where you can go that are quiet. You don't have to be in the adults only area. So that was fun once we found it. But it took a while for me to. I don't even know how to find it. I think you showed me, but.
Yeah, the very front of the ship, that Chippendale pool is definitely an area that tends to be quieter, with the exception of like if you are there when the horns go off. Like, I am not joking. It is not enough to just cover your ears. It is your entire body feels and hears, and it will startle you. Like, it is, even with your ears covered, like, it is really loud. Like, I highly recommend going inside when that is about to happen, unless you're the crazy person like me who decided to stand there and record it at one point, and it was awful. Anyway, I did forget to ask you guys about Haunted Mansion Parlor, and I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't ask you what you thought of that space, because it's just so themed, and I know you guys are parks people, and so I gotta ask what you thought about that. And did you try any of those non-alcoholic sodas there?
We did, yes. Yeah, I thought that was fun. We never had an issue getting in. We didn't try we did go the first night, but late.
Yeah.
Right? We never had a line. We always had an easy time getting in. We went in a couple of times by ourselves, and we took our kids one time.
We did have one time right before dinner when it was fairly crowded. There was a rush right there, and so I had the kids there, and we weren't going to dinner at that time. And so we showed up, and it was just packed, and then it emptied out completely right after that. And so it was just a brief window where it was crowded.
And we did the drinks. They just have like bottled soda. It's fine. It's like just bottled soda, but it's cute. It has this like sparkly, ghostly looking thing. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And he got the Mariner cup guy thing. So yeah, it was fun. We liked it.
But yeah, as far as theming and just the overall like experience of that, it's the pinnacle of what they've done on a cruise ship, right? They brought the park in onto the ship, and yeah, it's pretty fantastic. It's a great thing to experience. The kids liked it, and I mean, it's got a cycle where it'll run through it, but it doesn't feel like, oh, we're back to the beginning again. It just kind of just feels like it has a life of its own as it's going through, and yeah, it's a fun space.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We haven't found any of the drinks there, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, to be great, but the theming is just so good. It's one of those places that you want to at least spend, 45 minutes to an hour in, at least once on your sailing, because they just did such a great job with the Imagineering. And as you said, Todd, it brought the parks onto the ship, which is just a really cool thing. Well, we're going to skip rapid fire because we've gone long on the episode, but also because we've done rapid fire with you all, except to say, I got to ask you.
You're going to get hate mail over that one, Sam. But
no, I'm going to ask.
I'm
going to ask the one most important question, which Todd kind of already answered at the beginning of the show, because he says, love the one you're with. But Erin, I got to ask you, what is your favorite Disney Cruise Line ship now that you have been, I think, on all of the ships, right?
Yeah, I would say the Treasure, but I would agree with Todd, because I've had friends ask, like, if we're going to go on one, what should we pick? And I'm like, you cannot go wrong. I think I also am a big itinerary person. I think I care about the itinerary too. So I don't think you can go wrong. I love the fantasy too quite a bit. But yeah, I think the Treasure is the best one on paper.
Yeah. Well, and I think if you're a completionist, right, you're going to want to hit all the ships anyway. But I agree with you, Erin. I think it's more like pick your ship based on like when you're sailing, what itinerary you want to sail. And like, especially for first time cruisers, I always say like, what's the one that fits in your schedule and like is the right amount of days and all of that kind of stuff. Like, I agree. I don't think you can go wrong. I think there's something to love about all of the ships in the fleet, even if you have a favorite. And of course, the right favorite is the Disney Treasure. But I know Brian wants to ask his most important question that I took from him in our last episode that we recorded earlier today. So I'm going to let him do that.
What's next?
Oh, like as a cruise?
So
well, I mean,
sorry, we don't have any cruises booked. We've looked at potentially. I haven't done all the ships, so I was going to try and do the last one next spring. I really want to do a member cruise. It hasn't worked out for us timing wise, but that's on the list of what I'd like to do next.
Yeah.
And I mean, to get over to Asia too on the adventure, but
yeah.
Trip wise, we're excited. We're going to Disney World this summer with my sister and her family, and they've never been, so we're excited to take them. And then,
oh my God, so you're going to play tour guide?
Yes. So that'll be fun. And yeah, we're thinking about, I don't know the next cruise. I'd love to do Norway. But we don't have anything booked. We'll see. I would also be interested in a river cruise. I know you guys are doing a river cruise next year, right?
Yes.
But we're going.
And there's still room. There's still room available.
You guys.
We'll look at the dates.
You need like 12 rooms for your family of 6. No, I'm just kidding. 3 rooms, but you know.
Yep. So, yeah, you'll see on the Facebook page, Sam. I've got lots cooking right now.
Oh, I'm sure. I always expect, your Japan trip looked amazing. Like all of I'm always jealous just to read your trip reports in that Facebook group that we're in. Sorry, folks, I can't advertise it. This is an exclusive group and it's for women and it's for women only. So the guys can't join as well. So I
would love to know more I hear about it from time to time. Like it sounds amazing. So
we should just start our own group. That's what we need to do. Here we go. And then they can hear all about our group for a little while.
That's right.
It's like a total trump card because anytime we're doing something, I'm like, oh, Todd, the women travel funners told me this is what we're gonna do, and he can't argue.
Listen, they never go wrong. They never go wrong. Well, you guys, thank you so much for coming back on the show. We so appreciate it. It's always wonderful to see you again, catch up with you, but also wonderful to hear about your trips because I always know they're going to be like perfectly curated, perfectly planned trips by Erin. Always. We're gonna start our own Erin's own travel company.
Erin.
Trips by Erin. And I said Erin's not a travel agent, but she probably should be.
I know. I need some tax advantage, right? I do need to figure that out. So.
Absolutely. Well, again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for all that you do. I know this takes a lot of time, and it's made our trips a whole lot better. And just, the quality level of the production that you two put together is just unparalleled. So thanks for all the time you guys put into this.
Well, thanks to everyone out there for listening this week. We really, really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can keep getting great content from us every week. In fact, twice a week we publish shows. So be sure to hit the subscribe button to get all of those great episodes. And if you want to watch us live, we have a live show now every week, Monday nights, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern over on youtube.com/DCL Duo. So be sure to head over and check that out. If you want to help support the show, be sure to hit those 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And if you leave us a written review, a 5-star written review, we will read it at the top of one of our main episodes, so please head over there and hit those 5 stars. Of course, you can also help support the show by supporting our fabulous show sponsor, My Path Unwinding Travel. If you want to book your next Disney vacation, head over to mypathunwinding.com/DCL Duo or email them at dclduo@mypathunwinding.com so they know we sent you their way. If you've got questions or you'd like to connect with us, the best way to do that is to head over to dclduo.com. It's got links to all of our things, full catalog of the podcast episodes, including a searchable catalog for the podcast, links off to our vlog, a link to our Etsy store where we sell some fun fan-inspired magnets, link to our Patreon if you'd like to help directly support the show each and every month. Just head over to the website or patreon.com/DCLDuo. Also has a way for you to sign up for our Substack newsletter that we're hoping to start really pumping out monthly here at least, and a few blog articles that we've written. So DCLDuo.com is the best way to connect with us. You can also, of course, email us at info@DCLDuo.com or reach out to us on our voicemail line at 402-413-5590. That's 402-413-5590. The DCL Duo Podcast is not affiliated with Disney Cruise Line, the Disney Company, or the Disney family of theme parks. The views expressed on the show are solely those of the individuals on the podcast and in no way reflect the views of the Disney Company or Disney Cruise Line. If you have questions about a Disney cruise or a Disney vacation, please contact the great folks over at My Path Unwinding Travel or Disney directly or your own travel agent. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time for another fabulous adventure with the DCL Duo. Good night.